Hey guys, Yoshi Blair here, and welcome back to the Dig Figures review series. Today we're not really doing anything new or special. I just decided to take the idea to mash summon all of my older reviews of the Dig Figures review series and mash them into one video. So this video will contain every okay episode reviewed. Before you ask, I'm also going to be planning a marathon which has every bad episode reviewed. If you're wondering why I'm not doing a marathon for all the good episodes reviewed, it's because after you've watched these two videos, you can pretty much tell which episode is going to be good. There's another reason why I'm doing these two videos. Number one, for someone who loves stick figures, you probably don't know which episodes I actually don't like. So instead of wanting to try and find all of the bad and okay reviews in each of my videos, I figured I might as well make these marathons just to make your search a little bit easier. But if you really want me to see a marathon of all the good episodes reviewed, let me know in the comment section and maybe I'll do it. But today I'm going to focus on all of the okay episodes reviewed. This marathon will contain every episode of Dig Figures I found to be okay. Now, if you're wondering what the okay rating is supposed to mean, let me clarify. It can be in two ways. Number one, I thought the episode had some good qualities, but also had some bad qualities. It's not really enough to make it good or bad. I'm just gonna call it an okay episode, and that I like the good stuff, but I don't like the bad stuff. And if an episode does get an okay rating, it's for this second reason. I just didn't really have anything to feel for it. I didn't think it was a good episode, but then again, I don't really think it's a bad episode. So yeah, it's either one of those two options. It's whichever way you want to look at it. But anyway, let's begin. Episode 8. Kitty Amazing. Red finds a cat in the dumpster, but unfortunately it kills people. Yeah, this cat kills people. It's because it's adorable. Okay, to be fair, I really don't think the cat is all that cracked up to be. I mean, yeah, they say it's cute, but it doesn't really look that cute. And I know this is supposed to be a joke, it could be ugly, but they think it's cute because of just how funny and stupid the characters are. But even then, I still didn't quite get it. And a lot of the jokes in this episode felt kind of forced. So it's kind of hard to rate this episode. Is it good? Is it bad? Well, it's just okay. That's all I can say for this episode. There are some good jokes, but not enough to save this episode. I will say, it could have been much worse, but thankfully it wasn't. Episode 9. Role Players. Red and Blue must go on a journey to save Pink from the evil King Richard Figures the Long Shaft. Get it? Basically, Richard is a nickname for Dick. I kinda get it, and why it's called Richard Figures, and how he has a... Let's just move on. Anyway, the highlight of this episode is Lord Tourette's. This is the first episode he's in, and for what he first stars in, he's a very funny character. I'm very glad he became a main character throughout the series, because he has a lot of funny moments. However, just because of Lord Tourette's scene, does that make this episode good? Well, not really, because I do have problems with this episode. First of all, there's the ending. I really didn't like it, especially when Pink walked out on Blue. That felt kinda mean-spirited to me. I mean, all Blue wanted to do was have a little fun game with his girlfriend, and she just didn't care because she wanted to do other stuff with him. At least try and do something different, and not to mention there's an episode where she later does it and has fun, so what was the whole point of that ending? It just felt mean-spirited, and it's not funny. You really do feel sorry for Blue at the end. Now that's the reason why Pink, I don't really like her that much. Because she just leaves out on Blue and doesn't even give him a chance, even though it wasn't really his fault. Also, there are some jokes in this episode which are funny, but not enough to save this episode. Though again, I don't think this episode is bad, because like I said, there are some good things in it. I guess it's just the ending that really pisses me off. So I guess this episode's just okay. Episode 13, Butt Genie. Red and Blue meet a hamster genie. Or is it a guinea pig? I'm not exactly quite sure. Anyway, so there's some average stuff to talk about in this episode. Yeah, there are some jokes in this episode, but is that really saying much? I suppose not, but the jokes here are funny to just kind of There's Lord Tourette's joke, but unfortunately, I think it kinda came out as forced, since you know something bad was gonna happen. It was funny for a bit. The funniest scene, I think, was when Broseph got ripped in half, and I know what he actually meant. My least favorite part about this episode, the ending. It just kind of came out of nowhere, and it didn't really make me smile. I just thought, really? They didn't have enough time to give us a proper ending? If they thought of something better, like the whole world domination that Red was talking about, maybe I would have liked this episode a little more. But as is, it's just an okay episode. Not too many bad things, not too many good things, just something I don't mind seeing a couple times again. Episode 17. Why you so meme? Red and Blue meet a meme from the internet. I suppose before I talk about this episode, let's talk about the actual character Trollzor. He's... okay, I know there's people that don't like Trollzor, but to be honest, he really doesn't bother me that much. Well, only very little. I suppose he is funny the first time you've watched him, and if you've never seen memes before and this is the first way to start, you'll probably like how he goes, but even if you don't, he's just not that interesting. He's into games, yeah, but that feels a bit too similar to Blue. He likes a lot of things they both like, they hang out, and yeah, that's about it in this episode. Like I said, this episode just lacks a lot of plot. However, there is a nice little plot that Red actually does care about Blue. He wants to get his friend back because there's this guy that keeps beating him on Flame War. However, that's quickly shrugged down to the ending when Red just thinks that he really didn't care about Blue once again and punches him. Yeah, I really didn't like that part about the episode. There were some funny jokes in this episode, though not much. The majority of them do come from Trollzor, who, like I said, isn't a bad character, so it's kind of hard to rate this episode. Is it bad? Is it good? Well, it's just kind of average. I think this is an okay episode, but not that okay. It was very close to being a bad episode, but at least it wasn't. Losing streakers. Red and Blue go gambling. That's it. That's all that the plot is for this episode. And it does make up for it for a couple things that I like. For one thing, I will say the backgrounds do look nice. There's a lot of really funny jokes in this episode, and the animation is still really good. However, is that enough to make this a good episode? Not really. Because like I said, the main plot really doesn't go anywhere, and the ending did feel a little bit awkward. Funny, but kind of awkward. There really isn't that much to say about this episode because it's just kind of one thing, Red doing whatever the heck he wants to do, and sometimes it's funny, but not funny enough to save the episode. However, though, that doesn't make this a bad episode, though, because like I said, the animation is still good, like Season 3, and there were a couple things that made me laugh, so I guess there's not too much done for this. I think it's an alright episode. I wish I could have done some things better, but overall, I think it turned out pretty average. Episode 37, Freshman 15. Red attempts to have sex with 15 girls at a house party. Ugh, this episode. I personally have to say, this episode is actually very underrated. There's a lot of people that really hate this episode, and honestly, I don't know why. And let me state for the record, I don't think this is a good episode. So I'm just gonna go right ahead and say it's an okay episode. For these very reasons. For one, like I said, much like Losing Streakers, it does have some really nice backgrounds. The animation, like I said, is very nice to look at. Every character tries to make at least one cameo in this episode, and they're actually pretty funny. And the music, you know the music in this episode. It's very, very enjoyable. But my main problem with this episode is this again. Blue just kinda gets tortured throughout the episode for no goddamn reason, and he's got the flu. That's pretty bad. Also, this episode just isn't that memorable. Aside from the jokes and the music, nothing else I really remembered about this episode. The plot is just kind of thrown in there and then kind of comes out and back in for a few moments, and it's not really supposed to keep you track. And that's really the only problem I have to say about this episode. But like I said, I really don't think this episode is that bad. It's got some enjoyable bits, some really enjoyable music. Though I do think it's very underrated, I still think it's not that good either. Episode 38, The Ballad of Lord Tourette's, a song about a day in the life of Lord Tourette's. To be honest, I don't care about this episode. Now, that doesn't mean I think it's bad. bad. First of all, I'm gonna say it's another okay episode, but there's not too many things this episode does that's good. The song is nice, and it does stay very true to Lord Tourette's nature, but much like Freshman 15, I just didn't remember this episode after I watched it. I mean, it just wasn't that memorable to me. I liked the song for sure, but the rest of the episode just doesn't really fall through. The song is nice to listen to, and it is very funny as well due to Lord Tourette's very funny nature. Also, this is one of the first episodes where Red and Blue actually aren't the main characters, but rather cameos. Even you guys couldn't do that for Ocho Muerte, why not this episode? But anyway, I don't have too much to say since it's a fairly short episode, but I will say it's got a good song, though I don't think you'll be too invested into it. Episode 39, The Fart Night Rises. Batman and Blueser are hired to provide security for the Olympics. When I first heard about this episode, I got pretty excited. I really liked the first Adventures of Batman and Blueser episode, so I was very excited to see this episode. I also really like the title, The Fart Night Rises. Good one, guys. You're always good at making these really stupid titles for episodes. Well, I sat down and watched the episode, and sadly, it wasn't really what I expected. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't think this episode is bad. There's a lot of stuff it does right. Like I said, the fighting isn't bad, and I do like the backgrounds and animation, and Zack do a very good job at making this episode done. But my biggest problem with this episode is just all of the jokes. The episode basically focuses too much on a lot of puns and really gets annoying after a while. It's funny at first, but there's just way too many puns in this episode, and to be honest, I just don't think it's that funny. Earl Grey makes a return, thank God, I'm glad they didn't replace him, and he's just as funny as ever, except when he makes those puns. Like I said, I just like his appearance more in the other episode. But like I said, this episode isn't bad. In fact, I kinda watched it a couple times afterwards. It's enjoyable, only except for the puns, so I'll say the episode's okay, and it doesn't do too much bad, but not too much good either, and at least I did have some enjoyment out of it, enough to make it just okay. I mean, this episode could have been very close to being a bad episode due to all those stupid puns, but honestly, I think it's fine. Episode 43, Snow Job. A freak snowstorm causes a power outage and freezes Red into a life-size snowman, and Blue and Pink have to help him get out. Now, this episode does something that not many other episodes have done before. Usually, it's Blue that needs Red's help, but in this episode, it's Red that needs Blue's help. How Blue and Pink try to get Red out of being frozen were ranging from normal to very over the top. The title of this episode is obviously relating to a joke that happens in this episode, and it's the best joke by far. The part where Pink is breathing around Red's penis was predictable to see, but I think it still made for a very good chuckle. I do like the idea behind this episode, and there were a couple jokes that were funny. However, the ending felt forced. Red is set free, and Blue dies. It was something I saw coming a small while away. So how exactly am I going to rate this episode? It does some good things, but the ending felt forced. I guess you could say I think it's an okay episode. It's got interesting ideas, but I just don't think it's executed that well. Other than that, though, it wasn't that close to being bad, and it also was pretty close to being good, but because of that ending, it just kind of fell between the middle. Episode 44, the Dick Figures Movie Fan Music Video. This video is based off a song that was used at the end of the Dick Figures movie. There's a fun fact for you all, I actually submitted a submission for this video, and it actually got accepted! Hooray! But that doesn't mean I love the episode, though. First of all, I'm not a fan of Ninja Sex Party. I'm aware that they may be popular on YouTube, but the Lonely Island-esque duo will most likely not hit the scene in comedy music. Sure, I may be aware of what their style of music is like, but that's just me listening to a song they did for the first time. The music video has positives for sure. The opening sequence at the concert is stunning with terrific animation meets real-time filming. It's easily the best part about the episode. The song does have some very cheesy dialogue, and I'm pretty sure some tween boys will really enjoy it. The submitted animations for the video was also good. Some of it looks mediocre, like the animations for the lines said fuck 21 times and the wear a diaper not to shit look like a 10-year-old drew it. But other parts like the retro style animation, the part with the line the more you blow overhead red and blue, and the Lego film scenes were very close and very creative at making a great practical use of effects. But quite frankly, the biggest problem I have with this video is just that Ninja Sex Party are not the music group to carry out a song like this. There are some lines in this episode that are just awful. Like, you just watched a whole fucking movie and someone call a doctor because the movie is making me totally sick. It's very, very cringeworthy, and it didn't exactly make me laugh a whole lot. And to be honest, my biggest problem with this video is just that the song we've already heard before. It would be nice if they thought of a new song and probably not use Ninja Sex Party for the whole fucking song. But if you're a fan of Dick Figures, it's worth watching, and if you're a fan of Ninja Sex Party, you'll probably like this episode too. But it's filled with lame music, and I just hope the rest of the season isn't like this. But I will say, this episode does have some enjoyable moments, but not too much to grab my head around. I think it's okay. Not too many good things, not too many bad things. Feel right between the middle. And that was every episode of Dick Figures that got an okay rating. In total, Dick Figures only had 10 okay episodes. For a series like Dick Figures, that's not so bad. When you have more good episodes than okay or bad episodes, overall Dick Figures does work as a good series. I don't think it's the best animated series I've ever seen or anything, but compared to the other shit I've seen on YouTube, it's certainly saying a lot.